and Joseph Osai, they have real roles for. And we were happy to get them back. We were not the only bidders, believe me. There were a lot of teams bidding. And so the guys that produced for us, like those two that we were able to get back, you can throw Mike Gesicki in there on the other side of the ball. We were real happy, and then we were able to add a nose tackle that we have history with our D-line coach that we think is a really good fit for us, a starting level nose tackle. So we were really happy there. We were able to add a linebacker with a lot of starting experience. He started their playoff run. He's a Super Bowl champ, and so he's been on big stages, so we were really happy with that. We got an interior offensive lineman with a lot of starting experience. We were happy for that. Samaje Perine, we know exactly how he fits for us, and he can produce in our system, so we were happy with that. And then the guys we got back and the guys we extended, we feel really good about it, and we still have the draft ahead of us.
You guys haven't moved a lot in the first round, trades and stuff like that traditionally. Why did that kind of fit you guys, or is that something that you're open to doing or would like to do more? Just doesn't seem like it works.
We're always open to moving if it's right for us, and it's can be right for us. You don't always get the opportunity. People say trade. Those opportunities aren't, always there. Actually, they're not there more than they are there. If you're sitting on one guy that you think is a perfect fit for you, a lot of times we opt just to go that route. And if you're more open to your board and you get that opportunity and the price is right, you do it. We're certainly open to trading. We're open to trading down, back, left, right. I don't know what that looks like, but maybe that's staying put. I don't know, but we've always been open to that, not only in the first round but other rounds. We have 6 picks in this draft, so we would like to have a few more, and we'll see if we can make that happen.
Following up on Laurel's question, when you're paying the guys who are free agency, it's tougher, but were you able to check off the boxes you expected to check off in free agency?
Yeah, we're pleased with where we sit right now, and with the draft ahead of us, we are pleased. We kept our offense intact, and our offense is really good, and we kept it intact for the long run, and that's a very big positive. We're rebuilding on defense under Al's vision, and Al's given us a very clear vision of what he sees and what he would like to have, and we think we're in position to get him the pieces to execute what he wants to do, and that's what we're going through right now in the draft, and we'll see what fortune brings us.
How much of an adjustment is it when you have a new coordinator? How much of an adjustment for the personnel folks to kind of fit the vision, the adjust the way things have been in the past?
Well, the base of what we're doing in the scouting department stays the same. We're looking for bigger, faster, stronger, tougher, more productive, instinctive, healthy, smart, great teammates. All those things stay the same. The scheme fit stuff we really pay attention to, and if we're looking for a certain type, a guy that has multiple skill sets that fit a couple different roles, or a guy with versatility, because that's what we're going to be heavy in that particular scheme, we'll focus in on that. And Al's done a great job of communicating to us what his vision is and the type of player with the skill sets that he thinks he can utilize in that system. Like a lot of great coaches, and Al's a great coach, he's going to maximize the guys that are in the building. That's job one, and he knows that, and we're going to get him the best players available to do that. He's a big part of what we're doing up there in the draft room, and what he says holds a lot of weight with me. It really does, because I want this to work. I want his vision to work, and he's got a very clear vision, and it's been great working with him on it.
You talked about what TJ gives you from a run-stopping perspective. Do you guys feel like at this point you need more of a pass-rushing defensive tackle, or do you feel good about the room that you have in that specific area?
Yeah, at defensive tackle, I feel good about our young guys, because I think they're going to be a lot better in year 2, and they were really coming on late in year 1. And so I feel like we've got some young guys in the room. I know what B.J. Hill's going to give us. Adding TJ was a big get, because we needed a little more ballast in there. I think we're open to adding any good defensive lineman. I'm always open to adding any good defensive lineman, and if they can rush, that's fantastic. I'd like them to be able to do a little bit in the run game, because if they're just a black hole in the run game, they're only on the field in certain situations. So we like guys where we can build a wave of guys coming through that are fresh, that can both rush the passer and stop the run. And so we've got a good mix right now, and I think we'll probably add to it as we go through the weekend.
How much of a differentiator is it do when you're drafting not only need versus your board, but deciding whether or not a player can come in and contribute right away, or how much he can contribute versus a depth player who might take a year or two to develop?
And a lot of times it's what's in the building already that might keep somebody from having a little bit bigger role. But if we see a guy with tremendous upside, we'll take him, even though we've got somebody in the building, and try to work him in. It is nice to have these young guys come in and fit a real role. I don't think our team absorbs right now, as we sit, a bunch of young rookie starters. I don't see that. I think we've got starters across the board. If some young rookie can come in and win that job, that's fantastic. But gone are the days of you take a guy for 3 years from now. In my opinion, those days are gone. You need real quick development and production, some production out of your young guys. So we're looking for that. That's just the nature of what the NFL is now. You got to have guys come in, find a role that advances your team. And it might be on special teams. It might be in situational packages. You know, Al's going to use a lot of different packages, and we'll see if we can find guys that fit those roles, and then they can grow the role as we go.
How good is the guard class, and did that impact your approach to free agency?
You know, we take free agency with what's there, and what we're able to get, and what interest is there, and what the prices are. How we fit that with the rest of our team, and what we're doing at other positions. There are guards available in this. There are every year. I've never been a part of a draft that doesn't have guards. Now, if they go 1 through 35 and they're all guards, there's probably none left. But I don't anticipate that, and I think there'll be guys that we talk about and consider, you know, throughout the draft.
How much, when you're looking at what to do with the first round pick, how much do y'all need immediate production from somebody who's going in? I know you said you've got a lot of starters across the board, but do you guys need a certain level of production you're looking for?
We would like a certain level of production with our first round pick. Again, it's what's left for us. If you could tell me who the first 16 picks are, I would give you a little better answer on to how much the guy we pick is actually going to play and start. But it's, you know, I sit here and I'm not sure. We're wide open in the first round. There's a lot of good players at a lot of different positions, and that's something we're working through with our coaching staff and our scouting staff, and a lot of guys that are worthy of the pick, and we'll see what's there for us when we go. But again, we want our young guys to have a role. They got to come in and advance the ball for us, and that's just the nature of the league we're in right now.
How important is it, especially early in the draft, if you're looking at edge, to have a guy that has held up against the run as well, not just gotten out of the passer, but can do both? I know you mentioned that.
Yeah, we want players that have a full skill set if we can find it. A lot of times, you know, there are players that don't, and they're just situational type players, but we like guys that have a full skill set. Ideally, they have a skill set with one dynamic trait that they can build on, but they have to be able to hold up in the other elements of football. Football's a complete game, and we try to like complete players.
Just following up on James's question about the edge position, it seems like this year there's a lot of talented players that don't maybe have some of the statistical production, and it's making it hard to project where they could fall. What have you guys learned in the last couple of years about that process of when it's okay to take a gamble on someone because of what you think they can be in their athletic profile versus production at the college level?
Yeah, I think that's all part of scouting, and every player is a unique and completely different analysis, and you got to have the physical traits to play in this league. Without the physical traits, your production is not going to translate 1-to-1. So you need the physical traits, but you also need the instincts, and the instincts are what bring production. And so there's a blend, but we can't take guys that have no physical traits and a ton of production and expect that to translate. And conversely, it's hard to take a guy that has never had real production. But sometimes you bet on the traits. That's what this league is about. And there's plenty of examples of guys who have not had great collegiate production, but stupendous NFL athletic traits, and have come into our league and really shined. So coaching is part of it. Development is part of it. Sometimes schematics plays into it. But if you got a guy that likes football, that's a tough physical player with the appropriate dimensions, it's a pretty good bet he's going to have some degree of success in our league.
How important is positional value to you, especially in the first round of the 17th pick?
Positional value, I think we're going to be choosing between a number of different positions. The guy's got to be worthy of the pick, and then we drop positional value and team need in on top of that. But there's a lot of factors that go into it with these guys. By the time we're done with them, we've knocked them down about 6 pegs, and whether it's durability or character, or whether it's production, or whether it's a lack of a measurable. When we get done with them, they're knocked down pretty far, and then we start building them back up right about now to what they should be. And so, yeah, it's.
What is the process going to be like for you in person to come on this over the next 72 hours?
A lot of the work is done. We're talking through the different groupings. The groupings in the first round, we'll try to rank beyond our pick. Then we'll have groupings in the second, third, and fourth, and fifth rounds that we talk through. And in this grouping, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for us. We don't all agree all the time on those grouping orders. A lot of times it's picked for you by the time you get there anyway. But those are the types of things, and why somebody sees a guy a little differently, and sometimes we go back to the tape and try to hash out differences. But we like alignment in what we do between the scouting staff, the coaching staff, the ownership. We like alignment, and so we work very hard to find it. And then if we can't find it, we normally move in a different direction.
Last year, Duke, you had 10 picks. This year, obviously, right now, you have 6. How does that change the way you and your staff approach it?
It's 4 less picks.
But does that change the way you approach the position groups?
Not really. We'll see how many picks we end up with, whether we can make trades or not. Trades sometimes are pretty hard to do, and if we can get some and add some picks, I think that would be beneficial to us. And if we don't, we'll work hard in college free agency to fill some of the gaps that we have. I think we've got 72 on the team right now, so we're not understaffed as we sit here. Some years you don't have that many guys, and so it's a heavier lift. Some teams can't absorb 10 draft picks either, making your team. When you draft a guy, you want the guy to make your team. You've got 4 years, that you're trying to invest in this guy, and some teams can absorb more of those than others. But we'll see how many we get through. But our process is still the same. We're working all the way to our pick, and then as soon as our pick's over, we're working on the next pick.
Because you have just 6, if you're talking compensation with the team, would 2026 pick be a non-starter? Something you would want that?
I never say anything's a non-starter. What pick are we trading, and what's the 2026 pick?
It's a little example, right? You don't know where that team's going to finish. Second round pick sounds great if it's 31, if it's
Yeah.
62, it's not the same.
Yeah, well, welcome to my world. Yeah.
Is,
With Al spending the last 3 years in Notre Dame and playing a lot of other good teams in that stretch, is it like having an extra scout?
Well, Al was a fantastic scout when he was here before. He works at it. He really, really, truly works at it. Gives his opinion, and that's what I really respect about him. He has an opinion that is drawn through experience and work, and he demands that out of his staff, and we've had a great working relationship since he's come back, and I value his opinion. He's seen a lot. He's seen guys from college, he's seen guys from pro, he's seen guys that have transitioned from college to pro, which is the real key to scouting. It's not just how good they are in college or pro scouting where you translate more one-to-one. It's projecting a guy from this level to this level, and he's seen both levels, and so it's been great, and I value his opinion. That's what makes our scouts really good. They work both in the pro game and the college game, and so that gives them the perspective to make that transition and make that projection for this particular player. So Al's got that as well.
Is Jermaine Pratt in your plans for this season?
Jermaine Pratt, yeah, we'll see how it goes. He requested a trade. We've looked into that a little bit, and we are where we are, but I don't have anything to announce on that right now.
Following up, did you sign Oren Burks with the idea that he could be a starter?
What's up?
Did you sign Oren Burks with the idea that he could be a starter?
Well, Oren has been a starter in places. I'm not going to assign starters here at this press conference. That'll be for Al to do in September. So I think everyone's has a chance, and we don't bring guys in and say you have no chance, and so Oren falls in that category.
In drafting an offensive lineman, how important is versatility, like positional versus like being able to play multiple different positions on the offensive line? Is that play?
Yeah. I think versatility is important. If you're a starter, it's less important. If you're a backup, it's paramount on the offensive line. You have to, as a backup, be able to cover two spots, whether it's tackle or guard, or whether it's guard and center, or whether it's both sides. But you have to have position versatility as a backup offensive lineman. As a starting offensive lineman, if you are good enough to be the starter at left guard, you can be left guard. It's beneficial if you could move down to center and play that, or move to tackle. But if you are a good enough left guard, that's enough for us. So it depends on kind of where you fall in your career arc. But we cross-train all of our offensive linemen in some other position other than their natural spot.
Are you open to taking a guy who primarily played tackle in college and with a predetermined plan and saying you are going to play guard primarily for us?
Yeah.
When you look at the cornerback room right now, I know you just said you're not going to name starters, but we talk about your vision as you're looking at that room before the draft. Right now, is the vision for when Dax comes back to stay outside, or are you guys planning to move him inside to that nickel spot? Can you just talk a little bit
Better
about
question.
plans for Dax?
Better question for Al. I think Al's got thoughts on it, but I think it's going to be a process with him working with Dax and seeing where he is in his recovery and how he's moving around and how quickly he can learn the scheme and all those other things. But again, it's not for me to decide. Dax has position versatility. He's probably one of the more versatile players that we have on our team, and so there are a number of things he could end up doing. What he ends up doing will be up to Zach and Al and his staff.
How was the way you went on?
What do you look for when you're evaluating college offensive tackle to see if you can play guard? What are the traits that you're looking for, or if you
Transitioning from tackle to guard, a lot of them have played guard in the past. They might not be playing guard that year. So you go back and you see if there's history of the guy, and if there's no history, the thing you want to see is you want to see kind of a quick-minded guy that sees things quickly, because things happen faster inside than they do outside. So you want a guy that has quick recognition. You want a guy that can lower his weight, that can play with anchor and base, because he's going to be facing guys in our league that he's not currently facing in college football. And so you want to see anchor, you want to see lateral agility, and you want to see a quick thinking, and obviously you got to be physical, but that just goes across our whole team. If you're not a physical player, we're going to downgrade you for it, and it certainly runs true on the offensive line.
How was the way you all have success taking off-field risks and character questions evolved over the last couple of years?
Off-field risk and character questions, it's completely independent study for every player that we talk about, and we try to put as much work into those guys as we humanly possibly can. And we talk to a lot of people. We do a lot of background research, and then ultimately it's is this worth the risk? And every player is a little different in that, and sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no.
What do y'all need during that background process to feel comfortable bringing a guy in the building when there may be questions about off-field character concerns that they may have had previous stops?
I didn't hear the first part.
I guess
What do we need?
what do y'all need?
Information.
What
Yeah.
information do y'all need? What comfort level do y'all need to feel good about bringing a guy in that may have some of those questions?
Depends on what the question is. Depends on what the problem is, or what we think the problem is, or what's happened to them in the past. It's an independent case study with every player. Sometimes we come out yes, sometimes we come out no.
Dude, where do things stand with Trey Hendrickson in your mind right now? And is there any possibility that trading him is on the table at all?
You know, there's no real new information on Trey. I'm glad he's a part of our team. He's been a great addition. Kudos to Steve and his staff in the pro scouting area to find him, bring him in. He's been incredibly productive. We're glad he's here, and I don't have any new information on what the future holds for him, but he's a guy that I have a ton of respect for and regard for, and a ton of value for. So,
Is there open dialogue between you guys, or is it?
yeah, there's always open dialogue between pretty much us and our entire team. So.
How does the unknown about that situation really affect what y'all want to end up doing? How do you take that into account as you prepare for Thursday?
I don't. The unknown is the unknown. We operate with a lot of unknowns. You know, sometimes you can feel you have starters at all 22 positions and get 5 injuries. Those are unknowns as well. That's just the universe we operate in. We're looking for the best players available when we go to pick, and that's what we'll focus on.
Do you have a favorite question in meetings that you like to ask guys? Maybe gets the most information.
A favorite question? Oh, for a prospect?
Yeah, like you enjoy.
I like to hear who the best players were that they played against, and I also like to hear who they would take from their current team with them if they're trying to win. I tell them I'm not looking for you to have a roommate. I'm looking for you to bring somebody that you think can help win, and I like that. I like players' opinions of other players, and a lot of times you get answers that you're not expecting, and it might make you go research a little more. But these guys are the ones actually going one-on-one with these other players, whether it's at the Senior Bowl or Alabama playing Georgia. And who was the guy you were most worried about when you prepared for the game, and who was actually the best in the game that you felt. And it's just a question I like, because I think you get good information that way.
Is there a type of player that you remember y'all?
I don't have specifics, but anyway, when I ask a player, I tell them that it's between he and I, so it's certainly not between he and I in this room, I can tell you that.
Do you have any draft day superstitions or anything you do that's unique to you every draft day?
No, I don't think so. I normally wear a hat, but that's probably more out of necessity than a tradition. But I really don't. I'll normally go have breakfast with my wife, but I have breakfast a lot of mornings, so that's not overly unique. But she and I will probably go to first watch. That's kind of. Yeah, she does. She reads up on it. My kids read up on it, and so yeah. Sometimes I get advice.
Do you get advice when you're at first watch? Do you get people approaching you and start going?
I don't. I'm normally wearing a hat, so people don't recognize me. Yeah, and then I grow my beard really heavy, so that helps.
Maybe asked Pops this last year, but is there any added pressure given kind of window, given where y'all sit, with how good Joe's been, to make sure that y'all get every pick as good as you possibly can? Is there any added pressure that
There would be just the same amount of pressure if we didn't have Joe than if we did have Joe. There's pressure in this business. There's pressure to be right. There's pressure to make the right decisions. There's pressure to win. There's pressure on the players to make a play to win a game. There's pressure on a kicker to make a field goal. There's pressure on a quarterback to deliver the ball accurately. There's pressure on the left guard to make the block. There's pressure all over this league. It doesn't change. It exists, and we accept it. It's part of what we do. Yeah, we view them as the Bengals guys, not Al's guys and Duke's guys. That never comes up. We view them as Bengal guys, but yeah, we look at what we want to do and what's available to us and what the best options are. We won't take a guy that isn't as good a player as another player at another position. If there's a clear difference, we're going to go with the guy we think is a much better player. But yeah, I mean, we do respect what our coaches want to do and try to find guys and try to identify guys that could fit those roles. And then it's on us to determine where the value is in the draft. We understand that a little more than the coaches of where the guy might be available and might not be available and what order to take them in. But there's guys we've identified as good Bengal fits, and we'll see if we can come out of this draft with them.
With as much work that goes into it and as much of a grind as I'm sure it is for you, do you still get excited for draft weekend?
Yeah, I still get excited. I've been doing it a while, so it's just another event on the calendar for me. But it's an exciting time for our team. I think it's a culmination of so much work, effort, strain by our scouting staff throughout the course of a year that it's exciting to see them kind of come full circle with their opinions and ideas and thoughts. The passion that they bring to it is really unique because they put so much into this and they give so much to it. So it's always exciting when you get to have a reward at the end of the day. And I know what they go through. I know the travel. I know the demands, and it is real. And so when push comes to shove, I'm probably going to listen to them a little more than anybody else.
I think in the presser that announced Cajun Roaring, back in the line, recall that, Trey said at the combine a couple years ago, go find a receiver. How much did you think about having the I'd like to kind of be able to say that after the last couple of years and have all that done?
Yeah, I'm just being funny with that. I wasn't trying to irritate people, but it's just I never know what's coming out. I don't think I've said anything controversial today, but I never know what's coming out of my mouth sometimes, and that was something that came out that struck people the right way. It's just the way I felt. I try to just be honest with how I feel, and we drafted T, and he came in and was everything that we wanted him to be, and I wasn't interested in somebody else having the reward. I want the reward. I want the Bengals to have the reward, and I'm proud of T and his career and what's still ahead of him and how he goes about it. And so it was rewarding to get him signed up, and yeah, it's a heavy lift sometimes, and sometimes it isn't always kumbaya, but at the end of the day, that one worked out.
When people categorize this team as offense first, everything's about the offense. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I feel as strongly about the defense as I feel about the offense in terms of necessity, and it's got to work together. You're always going to be a little heavier on one side of the ball or the other, depending on how you're paying your team. There can be an imbalance based on that, but you still have to have a complementary team. We believe we can outscore anybody. That's just our mindset. That's who we are. That's what we've always been about. But you always have to take care of the other side of the ball, and defense has always been important to me. Even though I'm an offensive guy at heart, I've always been an offensive guy at heart. But I did appreciate a good defense when I was facing one, and so that was it always registers to me. But defense is important, and a lot of people believe defense wins championships, and maybe that's true. And if we get a little better over there, maybe we will.
Do you believe that in your heart of hearts?
I believe that our football team can go win a championship, absolutely. And I believe that is a belief that others believe as well, because I talk to enough others around the league, and I'm proud of our football team. And I want the rest of the city and the rest of the league to be proud of it, because it's a unique group of guys. It really is. And we will add pieces that will elevate it. And defensively, we have to elevate ourselves.
Thanks, Duke.
You bet.